a reputed school. But from all that discussion I just heard, I'm sure the kids are waiting not to hear my voice, but to talk to you and to listen to you about how wonderful this love for photography is, and how did you get into it, and which are all the places you've traveled, because from whatever I can collect, you have traveled a lot and you seem to have really excelled in taking amazing shots of wild animals. And I should say the preview I had, those lions were amazing. So we are all waiting only for that. So I'm not going to elaborate more. Your photography, your presentation will talk for you. So over to Eskay. Welcome again, and welcome to all of you. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. First of all, it's a great privilege for me to present this and share my experience with you all. I firstly thank you for inviting me to do this. I've always had great respect for you. You are one person who I've admired in school, and there's so much that I've learned from you apart from the academics that you taught us, and you are one of my role models too. So it is a great honor for me to present this in front of you, and welcome to all the members of Atasri. It's a great privilege for me to present this to you too. So let me start without wasting much of time. So this is, before I start, let me tell you how this entire session will be steering through. Basically, I'm going to put some questions and answer those questions myself so that we cover the important parts of wildlife in photography. So these are basically questions that most people have asked me. Some of the common questions that I have encountered through my journey in wildlife photography. I have just compiled all that together so that I'm sure it would be some of your questions too. And as Raja sir said, that apart, if you have any questions, you can post it in the inbox and we will discuss that later. So starting with the presentation. So introduction to photography. So the first question that I would shoot is, what is photography? So before we start with this first question, let me tell you all the pictures that I'm showcasing in this presentation are shot by me. I will also tell you where I shot these pictures. So this is a picture I shot early in the morning in Sri Lanka, Yalan National Park. As soon as I entered the park, this was seen, a lovely sunrise, and I got a very nice orange shade of light behind this tree. So I decided to shoot a silhouette because the peacock was really making a big story, perching on the branch there. So what is photography? So everybody has different explanations of photography. So technically speaking, I would say photography is knowing to play with light is basically photography. You know, photo means light and graphy is writing with light. So that is how technically I would define photography. So going on to the next one, genres of photography. So, you know, there are various genres of photography. We'll just rush through some of them, like the food photography, fashion photography, journal, portrait, sports, travel, landscape, wedding or event photography, and of course, wildlife photography. So this is a picture of a line that I shot in Masai Mara way back in 2016 in my morning safari. Got a nice moment to freeze when the line opened up to yawn. It yawned actually, but most people think of this kind of a shot as if it was growling. Actually, it was yawning. But the way the picture is freezed gives it more content and draws more interest to it. So next we'll go to gears. So there are many gears in the market. but there are two competent gears, basically the Nikon and the Canon, which wildlife photographers use. The other cameras like the Sony or any other manufacturer is used for various occasions, but most wildlife photographers use the Nikon or Canon. So what is the reason? Is because of the compatibility of the lens, compatibility of the telephoto lens. So getting into the camera functions, these are some functions most of you will already know it, but just because this is a presentation, so I just try to pick this and show it to you. So almost for Nikon and Canon, some of the keys are common, but some important keys are different. I am showing you the Nikon 5600. Okay. So the next will be what camera gear to use for wildlife photography. This is a very common question many people have asked me after seeing some of my pictures. So there is no special device or a special gear for wildlife photography. All I would suggest is to go for appropriate telephoto lens and a body. So any lens that you can zoom, which has a focal length more than 70 mm, is a telephoto lens, which would help you do some good bird photography or any wildlife photography, and also assure that you have some good FPS body, that is frames per second, so that you can freeze moments like this. Do I need an expensive, advanced, or a trending camera? Okay, to answer this question, I'm going to first show you this picture. This is a picture of a tiger I shot like 4 5 years before in Kabini. In fact, this is my first tiger sighting in Kabini. I hope you're all happy about the image, the clarity of the image, the story that it conveys, the sharpness on its face, on the mush. And if you see on the body is little blurred compared to the face because I put the focus on the eye of the animal. So this I shot in a very basic entry level Nikon 5200 with a Sigma 150 600. This is another picture I shot at the same time, another very clear picture. So this was shot with a Nikon 5200 and a Sigma 160, 150 600. So the lens is a third party lens and the body is a Nikon body, but still I was able to make good pictures like this. So do I need an expensive or advanced or trending camera? No. If you have a very entry level camera and if you know the knack of freezing the moment, that will do more than enough. So I would say the best one is you have all the knowledge about, or you have already mastered about. So generally, there is a saying, no, you don't go to a war with a proven weapon. No, you cannot go to a war without a proven weapon. So it is like that. Even if you have uh, the most superior camera, and if you don't know to handle it, if you don't know to put the settings accordingly, then there's no point that you possess it. So even if you have a very basic entry level camera, body and a lens, if you know the trick of doing it, then you can also do pictures like this. So knowing your gear, what significantly one should know about his camera. So there are basically three basic things. If you have a camera, you should know is the ISO, shutter speed, and the aperture. So you know ISO is the sensitivity of the image sensor of your camera. Shutter speed is how fast, how quick your camera shutter can open and close to freeze moments. And aperture, you know, it is the small pinhole which you can see if you look at uh, the circumference. When you look through the circumference of your lens, you can see a small pinhole inside. That is your aperture. The aperture can be widened or it can be shrunk. Basically what it does, the aperture, when it is shrunk, it cuts the light. And when it is widened, it gives more light. So that basically controls how bright or how dark your picture is. So ISO is the sensitivity of the image sensor. Shutter speed is how long your image is exposed to light, and aperture is the opening of the lens for light to pass through. So next we go on to how and where to begin. So this is the struggle what beginners go through. This is the hurdle. So they don't know where to begin. They don't know how to start. They think they have to really go to a bird sanctuary or to a national park only to begin wildlife photography, which I don't approve of. I would say you basically begin at your backyard, like how Akshit said and how Kavya said. You can just start at your backyard. You may have some common birds. It could be a crow, it could be a pigeon, it could be any bird that is in your backyard, is where you start shooting uh, and begin. And then you may go to the parks near your home, which may give you little more opportunity than shooting at your backyard. And if you have pets at home, well and good. Inside the home, and if you don't have a backyard, having pets at home is such an advantage that with them you can start experimenting your photography. And then beaches, riversides, where you can see a lot of birds, where you can see unusual movements, unlike any commercial place, is where you can begin your photography. Next, we go on to ask ourselves, how do I take good pictures? So the ways to do good pictures are to keep taking pictures. See, nobody can set a standard of, yes, this is a good picture or this is not a good picture, or if somebody had shot this, it could have been a better picture, or if you had used some other gear, this picture could have been a better picture than what it is. So there is no standards at all. If it is good, it is good. If it is good for somebody, yes, it is good for somebody. If it is not good for somebody, yes, it is not good for them. That is all. But the picture is the picture. So you have to set your own standards of good picture is basically what I did. So I kept taking pictures of whatever I could whenever I had an opportunity. Constantly, I used to spend a lot of time with my camera gear to learn and set standards of taking good pictures to showcase like this. So also see and view many pictures, so that when you see pictures of professional wildlife photographers, then you can also review what you have taken with those pictures, and then also you can set your standard of taking a picture. So you can also view a lot of pictures which will give you good knowledge of how the frame is set, how the lighting is, how what kind of movement is frozen in the picture. That will help you take good pictures. And then analyze your work, as I said, and then keep experimenting with your gear. Try to set various combinations of the settings, the basic settings, and keep taking the same object or the same subject, so that you will learn the variation in the variation in the pictures will give you a learning of what kind of settings are more appropriate for your circumstances. However, I would say the first 1,000 pictures you shoot are only to learn, or probably it's only for trash. You cannot showcase it. So the 1,000 pictures are your practice pictures. So try to finish your first 1,000 pictures, which will give you a good learning. Okay. So I missed to tell you in the previous slide, the pelicans that were in flight, I shot in Ranganati 2-3 years before. And this is the picture of a lion cub, which I shot in Africa, uh, Masai Mara, Kenya, last year in September. So this was a very peculiar moment, and this was my first sighting in Masai Mara itself. After I entered the park, in few minutes I could see pride of lions playing beneath the rock that you can see in the picture, and I was waiting to take a picture of the cub like this alone. And to my luck, this cub actually started climbing up the rock, and it stood, it turned right, and I was in the right, and I was waiting for this right moment. So I was able to freeze this, and this was the output. In fact, I had submitted this for one of the competitions, and I this took me up to the final level. But of course, I couldn't go through in the finals, but it gave me a good recognition. So now we go on to the question, what are the challenges in wildlife photography? So wildlife photography is unlike other photographies in what means? Basically, the subject is not in your control. This is not like a food photography or a portrait where you can tell your friend who's posing to smile or freeze for some more time and come under the light, or no, all that you cannot do in wildlife photography. So basically, the subject is not in your control. So the second you get with the second which you get to shoot this animal is the second that you are approved of. If you do a good picture, it is a good picture. If you miss that second when the animal is posing, then you don't get it again, or you have to wait for minutes together. I To shoot this picture, I was waiting for about 35 to 40 minutes. I was waiting for the cub to play with the siblings, finish that off, and I was just anticipating that it would go up the rock alone because there were 2, 3 safari jeeps. So I thought it would be curious of us and can go up the rock, and it happened. I was lucky, and so this picture happened. So the subject is not in control. Secondly, the light is also not in your control. Unlike indoor photography or wedding photography or any event or food photography, you cannot put the light on the subject. It is only the sunlight that gives you light to shoot the animal. And if you don't get light, you are not going to get enough shutter speed to freeze it without shakes. Timing the shot is very important. Compiling your settings to that momentary needs is the ultimate challenge of wildlife photography. So basically, the ISO, the shutter speed, and the aperture, they have to sync in a concert to give you a lovely music. No, so like that, if they are in good concert, it will give you a nice picture like this. So you should know to put all these three settings appropriately to your needs. So these are the challenges, and all this would complement in taking a sharp picture. So ultimately, your goal is to take a less shaky or precisely a very sharp picture and handheld. It is not like an event photography where the body and the lens will be less than 1 kg. Now, the lenses that are used in wildlife photography, like a Nikon 500 f4 lens, itself is going to weigh close to 2.5 kg. So you hold that along with the body, and you hold it like this, and without shakes, you have to create a picture. It is tough. So when you are handheld, it is very tough to make a picture without any shakes, a clear picture like this. So these are the challenges in wildlife photography. So now we go on to composing a frame. So this is a picture I shot in Ranthambore in 2017. This was in an early morning safari, say around 7:30 in the morning. After about 1 hour of roaming in search of any sighting, finally this happened. And now composing a frame. So how to compose a frame? There are a few suggestions that I would put forward about composing a frame. One is try to make an eye level shot. Now, if you see this picture, what I'm showing you is an eye level shot and also an eye contact shot, which are two different things. Eye level shot is like you get the animal without, you get to shoot the animal without any inclination, like this or like this. On the surface to the level of the animal, if you are able to make a picture, I call it an eye level shot. And the eye contact shot is exactly when the animal is looking through your lens. If you freeze it, lovely. So this is both an eye level and an eye contact shot. So next about composing a frame is choosing a good background. See, sometimes you have the opportunity of choosing a good background, sometimes you don't. Now, if you see, the entire ambience of this picture is good, but is the background really good, really appreciable? Not really, but you cannot discriminate it also. But that is because that is the ambience where you can cite it. But I'm going to show you some pictures where you can see good background. Sometimes you can also choose the background, which we will see later. If possible, make an eye contact shot. That's what I mentioned just before. And rule of thirds, I'll tell you what is rule of thirds also later. Consider the lighting. Lighting is something very important. Light as a topic we will see later in this presentation. And time your shot. Time your shot is, no, so imagine the same picture if I had shot it when the tiger was looking the other side or it was looking elsewhere. No, timing the shot is very important. So I shot it when it was looking at me through the lens and at the eye level. So timing the shot is important. Keep the focus on the eye. So always keep the focus on the eye. This is a picture of an elephant I shot in Kabini a couple of years before. I was very close to the elephant, so I was able to frame this. And very few animals you can shoot like this, no, like very symmetrical. If you elephant is one animal which you can shoot bang on the head, and you get a very symmetrical shot also like this. So why should you make an eye level shot? See, it is very natural. No? When we speak to somebody, we prefer to look at them at our level. Suppose if we are talking to a kid, the kid will prefer us to come down to their level. It is you cannot make 100% connect with the kid if you are looking down at the kid and talking, and you let the kid look up at you and speak. So if you want a good communication, it is always you go to the eye level of the person you are conversing with. So it is very natural also. So always prefer an eye level shot. An inclined shot may not convey much details. So if this elephant, if I had not seen, now elephant is a very huge animal. If I stand on the ground, I cannot make a eye level shot like this. I was in the jeep, and if I wanted my comfort and if I didn't prefer to stand up and shoot, I will not get an eye level shot with the elephant. So I wanted an eye level shot. So I stood up and I decided to take this picture because it makes sense. If I had sat and shot this, the eyes would have been at the sides inclined when you see the picture. So it will create a good connect with the pictures to the viewers also. So when you look at the picture also, you will get a good connect. You can understand the picture. And finally, the picture may not look professional. It will be very amateur. So I'm showing you some eye level pictures. This is a leopard I happened to shoot in Africa in 2016, 2015. See now, the difference between this leopard eye level shot and this leopard eye level shot. This is a leopard cub which was resting on the ground, even a lower level than this one. This one is standing, walking. This one is resting on the ground. But still, I was able to make a eye level shot. So if you have known, in national parks, you are not allowed to get off the jeep and shoot animals. So being in the jeep, which has already raised your level to close to 2.5 or 3 feet, and then still if you have to make an eye level shot like this, it is difficult. So you should learn the knacks of how to take an eye level shot. So these two pictures I'm showing you to show the difference in the height, difference in the level to make an eye level shot. Now this is another eye level shot of a zebra. This one also I shot in Masai Mara in 2015. Again, a zebra standing, and if I have to make an eye level shot, for you to understand, I can say I can just sit comfortably in my jeep and I can take this picture, because zebra is a taller animal compared to the leopard. So you don't have to go down to that level. So this is an eye level shot of a zebra. Okay. Now we'll go for this. How important is choosing a background? I told you that we'll be talking about choosing a background. And now you see this is a bird perching on a tree. And look at the background. Nice, beautiful, greenish yellow background. And again, timing the shot. The bird is facing the opposite direction, and I was waiting for it to turn this side so that I can also see the face of the bird. The eye is covered, the mouth, the beak is covered, and the body is also covered. The leg is also not cluttered. It is also covered. So that is about timing the shot, and now the background. So how do I get this background? I'll tell you how. So backgrounds basically adds more beauty to your picture. Mostly an out of focus background complements the image. If you have a very clear background, that is, if your background has more details as much as the subject, then it would be really disturbing. The background would be disturbing. So if you can make a blurred background like this, it adds more detail to the subject and also adds more beauty to the entire frame. And this uh, smudgy background, we call it bokeh. Bokeh, B-O-K-E-H in photography. And often it is referred to as the depth of field or DOF. Depth of field is a bit of a technical subject, which if we have time at the end of the session, we'll discuss about. I'm showing you some pictures of birds with the beautiful background. This is a common home squirrel or house squirrel. You see, it had come to drink some water, and I happened to show that. If you see, it is a very symmetrical shot. The reflection of the squirrel in the water adds more beauty, and reflection of the background is also there. So that's what the background can do to your picture. Is a kingfisher. Again, you see the background. Just imagine if the background was very clear. You can see there were some bushes, some branches, and some leaves there. So if you could see that also as clear as the bird, I'm sure it is not going to be as impressive as this. So the background is very important. A woodpecker. Okay, so now we move on to this. How significant is it to take an eye contact shot? So before getting into this, I'll tell you about this picture. So this is zone 6 in Ranthambore. So this is in evening safari. Many of you would have gone to Ranthambore, and many of you would know zone 6 also. You know the entrance of that zone is the entrance is like the it's like an arch. It's like an arch. The arch is actually resting on a hillock on one side, and on the other side, it is rested to the ground by a pillar. So we go through this arch to enter the zone, and we went in. We've been driving inside for like 1 hour. We were disappointed because there was no sighting. So we thought we'll get back and check out, or we'll leave the zone. And once we were heading back, this tiger cub was resting on top of the arch, top of the monument structure. Um, we were amazed. We didn't expect a tiger to be above our head. We usually search for the animal in the ground, and this was unusually above our head. And we've been passing through it two, three times, and we didn't notice. And then after seeing this, we decided to go up the hillock on one side. And I'll show you another picture where the same tiger walked up to us like almost 300 meters and had lovely shots that day. So this is the picture I shot in Ranthambore in 2017. And if you can observe, I made an eye contact shot. So the eye is the most lively part of the animal. So eye gives a good contact, that is a good connect with the animal, and also it conveys the mood of the animal. So you can make some, it will give you some thoughts in you when you get to see the animal, when it is looking at you, or when you look at the eye of the animal, you get the mood of it. So if you have pets at home, you generally say, no, your pet is angry, your pet is happy, your pet is hungry. You know why? Because one, maybe it is wagging the tail. Two, when you look at the face, actually the face does not convey anything. It is the eyes that makes the face convey more to you. So the eye tells you the untold story of the subject. So when you get the eye contact shot with the animal, it is so beautiful that you can create a wonderful storyboard. You can keep talking about it as much you want. So that is how lovely it is to make an eye contact shot with the animal. It connects the viewers to the picture. So suppose you, if you can see, there is a leopard picture behind me. That is a leopard I shot in Kabini. So if you see, that leopard also has an eye contact. So somebody sees that picture, they would be speaking to the picture for a few seconds, and then they will start talking to you about the picture and the experience and other things about the picture. So the eye of the animal holds the viewer for a few seconds, and then it conveys whatever is the perception of the viewer. Three people are seeing it, all three will have different perception. So that is what that is a magic that the eye can do. So I'm showing you some eye contact pictures. Now you saw that one picture of the tiger cub with the eye contact. Now this is two, a lion and a lioness. And again, this is more of a difficult shot because not actually a difficult shot. It is a more you need more patience to click this shot because I decided to get both the animals looking through my lens. So that really requires patience, and that cannot happen easily. One will look at you, the other will be looking elsewhere. When the other is looking, the first one may not be looking at you. The one may be lying down, crawling, doing something else, or no, all that can happen. But freezing two looking at the same time through your lens is something very nice like this. This is a leopard cub. I happened to shoot this Jan 2020 in Rajasthan, Bera. So Bera, if anybody had known, otherwise Bera is a village in Rajasthan where these leopards coexist with the villagers. They almost on a daily basis loot the livestock of the villagers, dogs and cattle, no? They just pick up and go, and these villagers are completely fine about it. They are so uh, friendly with the leopards, and these leopards also walk in front of their home. Sometimes they are on the roof of the hut, and these people are also quite happy and fine about it. Such a nice place. If anybody wants to visit later, maybe I can give you some suggestions about how to visit this place. So this is beneath a huge rock. There was a cave, and we knew that this guy was hiding inside, and we waited for like an hour, more than an hour, and finally, this is how he peeped in. And when he peeped out, he was looking elsewhere. Again, I had to wait to make this eye contact shot. So now this is the picture which you can see behind me, the eye contact, what I was telling you. So if you look at the picture, look into the eyes of the leopard, you get locked with his eyes for a few seconds. And then you start observing the other parts of the picture. So that is the beauty of getting an eye contact. And I have always been so crazy about doing a eye contact shot. This is a picture of another leopard in Africa, which I shot in 2015. Again, another example for an eye contact shot. This is one in Ranthambore, which I shot in 2017. So, believe me, this guy was in the water for more than 1 hour. a hot summer. He was chilling in the small puddle in the park, and he so promptly refused to turn this side for close to 50 minutes of that 1 hour when I was waiting to shoot uh, this shot, this picture. After 50 minutes, finally he gave up and he turned this side to look at us, and I was able to do this picture. Now, three. When two is tough, three is terrible, no? So, this is again in Africa in 2015. Now, generally, the cubs are more active, more curious than the adults, no, than the sub-adult or the adult. So these cubs were playing, and they kept on playing for 45 minutes. And I was sitting in my jeep and watching them have all the fun around. And actually, to the right of this scene was the mother lying down. I was waiting for these to go a little away from the mother so that the mother is not in the frame. And then I was waiting for them to play, get tired, rest, and then wait for all the three to look at me right through the lens and got the eye contact shot of all the three. So what I'm showing you is some of the pictures I really cherished to click. Okay, now we'll go on to rule of thirds as we are discussing points about composition. Now, rule of thirds is something very important. So, what is rule of thirds? In photography, basically, the rule of thirds says, in by rule of thirds, the entire frame is divided into 9 sectors like this, 9 equal sectors like this. And the rule of thirds says you either keep the subject or your focus on any of these intersections or along any of these lines, so that you get some positive space, that is a empty space on the right, which is the standards of creating a frame. So going ahead, discussing about rule of thirds, that was a close-up shot of a Linus, and this is a silhouette of a leopard on top of a hill. Now, if you see, is this following rule of thirds? Absolutely yes. The subject is on the intersection of the lines. So now in the previous picture, if you see, it was a close-up shot and I kept the focus on the eye of the Linus. So by rule of thirds, the subject was perfectly aligning on the intersection. Now again, this is not a close-up shot, but still my subject is the leopard. So I kept the leopard on the left of the entire frame and on the intersection. So it follows rule of thirds. So rule of thirds. This is what it says. The point of intersection of the frame on the intersection or along the line. Why should you do that? Basically, you do it because you create a positive space to self-narrate a story. The frame itself narrates or conveys a small story to you. So now if you see this picture, the leopard is facing to the right. So I kept it on the left. So it is seeing towards its right. So that means it is seeing something, it is curious about something on its right. So I leave a positive space on the right side. Just imagine if I had kept the leopard on the right side and leave a huge positive space behind the leopard, what story would it convey? Nothing compared to what you are seeing now. So that is what it does, the positive space does, and that you can achieve by rule of thirds. So, and it is the most natural way of viewing a picture. So even unless you are taking a picture to stick or to stick in an application form or something, you don't prefer to be shot like this. you need some space. So if you are turning like this, you prefer more space this side. And if you are turning like this, you prefer more space this side. That's the natural way of shooting a picture. So that is what rule of third teaches you. So now we'll see some examples of rule of thirds. This is a cheetah that I shot in Africa in 2016. So rule of thirds applied properly. So the subject is on the intersection. One more. That was a landscape picture. Now this is a portrait. So rule of thirds. Yes, applied. So the animal is on the left intersection and on the line. And there is some positive space on the right. Okay, now this picture. So is it always on rule of thirds? Let us check. Now this is a crowded picture where you have three grown-ups and three cubs. You see, actually rule of thirds is not applied properly, but still it is a beautiful frame. So is it compulsory that you apply rule of thirds always? Okay, so this picture, this is a subadult cub. Actually, there are two of them. If you see, there is one behind the tree. Yeah. So rule of thirds. No, not actually properly applied. Though you have the bottom line across the body of the line, it is not so properly applied. So what does it mean? So you actually don't have to go by rule of thirds always. So it is not a hard and fast rule of thirds, but if you can apply it whenever possible, you will make a beautiful frame. So what does it say? Basically, if rules are made to be broken. So if you know to break it in such a way that it does not cause damage to you, to your attempt, yeah, you can. So for that, you have to be little proficient or little efficient to do it. So if you are breaking a rule, then you should know how it should not affect you. So rule of thirds is not a hard and fast rule, but if you apply those rules, you can definitely make good pictures. So now we'll go on to light. Light is something that we had pointed out in making composing a frame. So going on to light. So this is a pond heron, a very common bird. Again, this was shot in Rangantittu in 2018. This was early in the morning, and slowly there was a sun. When the sun rose up, I got a beautiful golden light like this, and the heron right in front of me, and I was able to make this picture. Now, the beauty of the picture is the light, not the subject, but the subject adds more story to it. The liveliness of the bird, the heron, adds on more value to this picture. But if you can imagine this frame without the bird, it is not as beautiful or as interesting as it is with the bird. So light plays a very vital role. And don't forget, I told you, as in unlike in other photography, wildlife photography, the light is also not in your control. The subject is also not in your control. So if you are going on a wildlife photography trip, then you should wake up before the sun rises so that you get this kind of beautiful light. So if you think it is just like another vacation and Aram say if you wake up by 8:30, then go to the field by 9 o'clock, it will be harsh sun, very hot sun, and almost all the morning activities are over. So to get this shot, I have to wake up by like 4:35 and be in the spot by at least 5:45 because it is summer again, or at least January. Just even not summer, even in January, the sun rises at least by 6 o'clock. So you have to be there, be prepared, check the situation, check the lighting, so many other things you are expected to do. So light is a very important thing in wildlife photography. Light is the key to any picture. Dawn and dusk are golden hours. I always considered the dawn and dusk to be golden hours than any other part of the day. So, because the light is wonderful at that time, you get a very soft light at that time. And then best hours to play combinations. If you want to really play with your camera, do some interesting experimentation with the light. Dawn and dusk are the best hours to do some experiments with lighting. This is another picture which I shot in Africa. Again, this was shot during the sunrise, early in the morning around 5:45. See, you get the rim light. If you can see, there is a golden fringe in the circumference on the main of the line. That's because of the light. The sunlight is hitting on the line so beautifully, making fringe light. So if you can imagine this picture without that fringe light, then you know how vital it is. A few minutes later, from this to a few minutes later, can you see the difference in light? Soft, little hard comparatively. So the time is uh, very important. You be there before sunrise. Another one from Ranganathitu, a pelican taking a dip to pick some twigs to build its nest. Wildebeest, Africa, Masai Mara. Look at the background, look at the light. Says a lot about the animal, the entire frame. It's all because of the light. A pair of spoonbill, morning hours, early morning hours, when the light is almost entering. Happen to shoot this. Look at the beauty of the light. Another one, a pelican in flight. Again, the morning sunlight gives a beautiful golden outline of the bird. Okay, this is a croc basking on the rock. Trust me, I shot this morning 8:30. Such a dark picture. The advantage with crocs is they don't make much of movement. They bask for minutes together. So I was able to sail around this reptile, position myself, properly put settings in such a way that the image is underexposed, that the light is cut, and only the subject receives maximum light, and that's what you see now. Okay, timing your shot. This was another thing about compiling the frame, that is composing your frame, one of the key points. So this is an egret trying to perch on a dead tree. See how it was timed. Again, timed closely. One more. You actually thought it wanted to perch on the bark below. But then in the second frame, if you see, it flew a little higher, did another flap, unexpected. And then when it went further more forward to perch on the thicker branch than the smaller one. So timing your shot. That's how important is timing your shot. Shows the subject in action, basically. One more. Uh, Timing your shot, you see, it actually came down, it flew down, touched the water, picked the twig, and it was about to fly back. Just before it could take off with the twig, shot this. So why I did that? Because I know there will be more water sprinkles when it goes up than when it is dipping. So I wanted that water sprinkle in the background. So that is about timing the shot in this picture. Now, this is a slow shutter, still timing your shot. Now, this one was in Africa. It rained for some time. I know, so I actually anticipated that this male would wither a bit to, it would shake, it would do that action to wither off the water on its mane. So I was waiting for it, putting my camera in the slow shutter setting, and I got a nice, smooth, smooth movement of the mane. Another one, timing a shot. This is Kabini. This is a changeable hawk eagle. If I'm right, yeah. And it actually picked Mina. It was feasting in the morning. The breakfast was through. And I shot this, and it just tore apart a few intestines, and it was happily having its meal. About timing the shot. Another one, timing the shot, is peacock. As such, it is very beautiful when it is perching or when it is dancing. But when it is flying across the river, more beautiful. The color combinations and the reflection of the background in the water. Water becomes green because of the reflection of the bushes on the bank. And on top of that, this multicolored huge bird flies and it creates such a beauty. A very emotional, touching moment. Timing your shot when the calf is milking the mother. Okay, so you remember this picture which I showed you a couple of slides before, where I was talking about in Ranthambore Zone 6, there was a cub that was sitting on the civil structure of the entrance, and I happened to shoot it like this. That that time I told you, in fact, that I will talk about this later, and which is now. This is the cub which I shot inclined like this, sitting on top of the civil structure. And this guy, after we went up the hillock, came walking like 300 meters. We were the only jeep, and this guy has all the dare to come alone, leaving behind his brother and mom, walked all the way till us, as close as like 10 meters. He stood like that. He was looking at us. Can you see how curious he is? Look at his face, look at the eye. So much of curiosity. And that is timing the shot. And if that is timing the shot, this is even more timed. The same cup, he sat and he opens his mouth, expresses this feeling. An eye contact shot, eye level shot, and well timed. Yeah. So that is about timing your shot. One more, the spoon bill which you saw, which I showed you a few minutes before. The same spoon bill, leaving the rock, flying over the river. Flap up, flap down. Look at the beauty of the light. Can you see the light falling on the feather? And again, flap up. See that? How I have timed the shot. So it creates a very, very interesting story when you can time it properly. Next, we go on to keeping the focus on the eye. I'll just rush because I know it's already 5:30. Let me just rush through. So always keep the focus on the eye. When you shoot an animal, keep the focus on the eye. Focus of your camera on the eye of the animal. Because you need that very sharp, because that is what conveys a lot of story. Now, this is not an eye level shot. This is an example of an low inclined shot like this. I'm on top of a cliff, and this guy was having his meal beneath. So, and again, this is an eye contact shot. He's looking up at me. I look down at him, and the focus is on the eye. Okay, we have come to the end of seeing some pictures. Now, I have something to share with you. What matters on a safari? So ethics are very important in a wildlife safari park. Out of my experience, I would suggest these things to you. Carry a very compact and portable, any necessary possessions. It can be your medicine, or it can be an umbrella, or it can be whatever. Something which is always handy is better you possess it in a safari. And act responsibly while on safari. Remember, national parks are reserved for wildlife, which means it is not our place, it is their place, and we are in their place. So we better act as a very responsible guest, giving them their comfort and not disturbing them. And sometimes all excitements can lead to unethical acts. uh, and don't use flash, never use flash in wildlife photography. Flash is hardly used. I mean, it is never used, unlike when you are there are some circumstances where flash is used, but that is like 1 or 2% of wildlife photography, and that too only in bird photography, not in shooting cats or any animals like us. Keep a very low voice, because your voice can make them uh, make them go away from you. They can just slide into bushes and you lose a chance of sighting the animal. And carry whatever trash you happen to uh, carry in the jeep back to your camp. Don't throw anything in the wildlife park. Obey and trust your naturalist while in the park. Don't distract the animals to take pictures. Keep calm and be patient. You will definitely get your turn. If you don't get your turn in this safari, you will get in another. If you don't get it in that, you will get it in the other. So that's how I've been. And there has been like so many times I've had realistically 3 continuous visits to Kabini National Park itself. Every time I went there, I did at least 4 to 6 safaris, and I had no sighting at all. No sighting at all. No leopard, no tiger, nothing. And I go back home without any pictures. But it is okay. All you need is patience. Remember, before you embark on a safari, to clean your camera and lens with the prescribed cloth or any material which is very soft and usually used to clean the camera gears. And check if you have charged your camera battery enough. This has also happened to me. Once I had gone to the park, and then when I started shooting, I realized that my battery was not fully charged. Still, I didn't lose anything, because the sighting was not really good that time. But it is always better you check your battery before you embark on a safari, and check your memory card for sufficient space. Sometimes you may have to take continuous shots, which will fill a lot of space, and you shoot in raw mode, which will take a lot of space in your memory card. Carry a compact backpack for your essentials like water or little snacks if you would feel hungry in the park. Use a bean bag for support. So bean bag is a small, it's a very small gunny bag kind of arrangement where you can just stuff it with some thermocol or some seed or rice, so that it gives you a support to keep the lens on it and then shoot, so that there are no shakes when you shoot. Click a few snaps before you enter the national park, just to assure that your camera mechanism is perfectly all right, is not going to ditch you at the right moment in the park. Check all your camera settings are altered to needs of the day. Sometimes you finished your evening safari, your ISO will be very high, and the next day morning when you go with a very high ISO, and then when you start shooting, it is going to be a very bright picture, and it is all completely collapsed. So always keep checking your settings. Okay, so those are things that I wanted to share with you. With that, we come to the end of the presentation. This is an elephant that I shot in Africa 2 years before. So with that, we come to the end of it. This is an Egyptian goose, which also I shot in Africa. Happy photographing to all of you, and thank you so much. With that, I'll sign off.
Thank you very much, Eskay. Many thanks indeed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It is my pleasure, sir.
Beautiful presentation. and all of us could follow, with whatever you showed, the pictures, the eye level, the use of light and composition, everything. Uh, it was really great, a great experience for all of us.
I had more to show, sir, but
Yes,
because of the time paucity, I had to compress it so much. And
yes. We have
I
a,
told you, and I was traveling for the past 2 days continuously.
I
I
know.
drove up till Kanyakumari, and I came back
Oh,
driving, and there was
wow.
the cyclone
Right.
around. So with that,
Yes.
few things I really could not compile in
Oh,
this.
just the last
Anyways,
2 days.
I hope you all liked it.
Yeah.
I hope I did some justice, and it was
Wonderful.
interesting too.
Wonderful. Uh, we have a few questions. So I
Sure, sir.
won't. Uh, one of the questions is, I'll just read out. Uh, yeah, one of the boys had asked,
Can I
Akshat.
read them, sir? Can I
Yeah.
read those
Oh,
questions?
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah.
I have put some questions on the chat. Maybe you could look at those and answer.
No, no, that's what he's looking at.
Okay.
Eskay himself is going through that, and he'll take up the questions.
Can I ask the same question here?
Is it possible to share the photograph I had sent, Mr. Raja?
Yeah, certainly. I don't know whether I can transfer it here, but I can
Yeah.
send it to him.
Okay, that'll be wonderful.
Yeah. I'll talk to
Sir,
Eskay.
I'm
Yeah.
reading the chat, sir. From
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
552, I think there are some
Yeah,
questions.
go ahead.
531, Akshit says
Yes.
something, and then
Yes.
yes, sir, it is very clear. Okay, and then can you please repeat eye contact shot? Akshit asks for it. Eye contact shot. I'm sorry, sir. I don't understand what he's actually wanting to know by
Well,
saying
that question was put
he
before
wants me to
you
repeat eye
started.
contact.
Yeah, I think that question was put before you started explaining in detail
Okay,
what eyes
okay.
contact
Then
was.
later I clarified on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Now,
Do wildlife specific cameras come without the horizontal lines or two vertical lines show up in the field? No, actually, this horizontal line and vertical line is an option in almost all the cameras, which you can switch off if you don't want. They call the grid lines. There is in the settings, if you can go and switch off your grid lines, you may not see them. Sir, how is the background black in this picture? Oh my God. I don't know which picture Akshit is referring to.
I think you had a couple of pictures of pelicans and so on, when the background was dark.
I think it was a crocodile
morning when
picture
I-
that he wanted.
Yes, sir, that was cleared. You said the low exposure.
Oh, okay, fine.
That was cleared.
Okay.
Yeah, you had asked
What
the
is the
question.
role of photo editing and Photoshop applications? That is a very good question. So let me tell you frankly, after even the world's best photographers, after they finish shooting, they may have to do a little post-processing work, which is only like hardly 5%, maximum 5% of what he or she originally shot. So photo editing is not photo editing or Photoshop does not come much into this. The little alteration or little editing that would be is to crop the picture to give it to give a proper presentation, just to resize the picture, maybe exposure 1 or 2 points up and down. That is all. The rest you do when you are shooting itself.
Okay.
So for the speaker, film over CCD, what do you prefer? Why? Film over CCD. CCD, you mean the memory card, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the electronics that captures films these days. The old film is all gone.
Yeah. So you mean which one is preferred, the film or
the current? Yeah,
the digital camera,
electronic mechanism.
Yes.
Do you work with film at all?
No, sir. I've not seen. Neither have I used films. I've used films when I was a kid, but now I don't think those cameras are so commonly available, or even I don't know if the film is available. But no, that was really a challenge. Those days were really a challenge. Now you can click, you can review, you can do some digital alterations. Pictures, photographers who have shot in those days are genius people, sir, definitely. Because they don't get a preview of what they are going to shoot or how the output has come. They had to get back to the lab and they had to develop, make the negative positive, and then see the output. Then only they can analyze their own work of what setting or what component they had actually pumped up much or they had missed to properly alter. That is very different, sir. But when, sir, I would say when there is a easy way to do, let's do it. We need good output. That's all.
Okay.
Rather than taking a challenge.
Okay. The rest are not questions,
Yeah,
but they are feedback from
yes, sir. I'm
those
reading.
who had listened in, but you might like to go through them.
Yes, sir, I've done that, sir. Thank you
Right.
so much, everybody.
There
Thank you
is
so much, all
just
those who have messaged.
just one more question. Prabhakar, you had a question.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Raja?
Yeah, please.
Please, sir.
Yeah. I want to know the advantage or disadvantage or your thinking of still camera versus videos. You're taking wildlife photography, you need the motion. How do you compensate one by the other?
Sir, if I'm taking a picture, I cannot take a video. Or if I choose video over a picture, I will not be taking a picture. So it is all what you decide what you want to do. I would prefer a picture than a video, sir. Sometimes, uh, circumstantially, the sighting may not be suitable for a video, but will best suit a picture. And it is two different things. The settings are different. Even the ambience is important. So I will tell you an example, sir. When I had gone to Kaziranga, that is Assam, where the patent of India, the wildlife patent of India, the one-horn rhinos, you can see them only there. So I there how it, if you had gone or if you had if somebody had told you how it happens there, you only have elephant safari. There is no jeep safari. So I'm sitting on the back of an elephant, and the rhino is lying down. So as it is, I'm getting an angle like this only. Secondly, the elephant is going to keep on moving. It is going to sway like this. If I choose to do a video at that time, I'm not going to get anything out of that park that day. I rather take a photo. And the other thing what I wanted to tell you is, so the rhino was lying down. There were two rhinos. They were lying besides tall bushes. I wanted to make a beautiful picture of that, but there is some dung next to it. They had poop. So I don't want that poop in the frame. And now, more disadvantageously, I'm on top of the elephant. If it was a jeep, I can tell the driver, can you move a little forward? Can you go this side or that side? Position myself. But with being on the back of an elephant, you don't have that choice at all. So what I'm concluding to say is it is very, very circumstantial whether you can make a video or make a picture. It is completely to your discretion. And video, sometimes when you make a video, you really miss a picture. Who makes a video is only those people who do assignments for the TV channels like the National Geographic or Discovery, like that. If you are not a frequent visitor, or if anybody is casual visitor, or just for a passion, if somebody is doing wildlife photography like me, always I would suggest to go for a picture than for a video. So also, sir, as I said, the camera gears are very heavy. It's not it doesn't your cap cannot cover it. It is protruding, like at least 2 feet it is protruding, sorry, 1.5 feet it is protruding out of the body. So making a video would not be an ideal idea at that time, is what I feel, sir.
Right. We have a member, Ranjini Kamath, about whom Rama spoke to you at the start. Ranjini was not here at that time.
She's also messaged. I have sent a
Yeah,
picture of a
she
migratory
has sent a
bird.
picture.
If it is possible to see
That's right.
this, I
That's
would
right.
like to know how you would rate it. Thank you very much for a very interesting.
Ranjini, are
Can
you
see the
there?
picture, sir?
Yeah, I am very
Why
much.
don't you say hello?
Hi.
Hi, Ms. Ranjini.
Yeah, I'm so glad
Can I see the picture?
Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
so
It's
glad.
my privilege. Thank you.
Namaskar. Yeah.
Can I see
So
the picture?
recently I'd been to one of the lakes close by, and now is the
Okay.
season for the migratory birds.
Yeah.
So I just caught one of a black-winged stilt.
Oh,
So
lovely.
I'm not sure whether you'll be able to, whether this picture can be sent across. So I would have liked to know how you would rate it.
Can I see the picture now?
Mr. Raja?
I don't know whether I can upload it from my mobile. I don't have it on my computer.
I don't know
So
how
you
to
can
send
also
it.
mail me later. So
Actually,
that
I think that's what we'll do.
Ms.
We'll
Raja,
mail
if you
it to
can
you.
send it, if you can send it to me
Yes, I'll do that.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
right
I'll
now,
do that.
Wonderful.
and
Yeah.
I'm going to request Eskay to stop sharing.
Yes.
sure.
I can try, if I receive that in time, I can try and share it from my.
That would be wonderful. That will be. I'll be so grateful.
I don't know if it'll work. Let's try that. Was somebody sending me that picture?
1 second. I'll just try.
The rule of thirds, I'm afraid I did not observe very strictly.
Rule of thirds was made to break, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I'm very happy with the picture. I posted it on a site called INW.
Okay.
I learned photography from Kalyan Verma. So
I'm
I'm
just
very proud
Kalyan,
of
not
the.
Verma. One day I wish I become like him.
Yeah, he is a wonderful teacher.
I've heard of him, but not got a chance to meet him yet.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
What's the typical cost of a good camera?
Sir, as I told you, the 5200 Nikon a couple of years before costed me around 52,000, and the Sigma 150-600 costed me around 60,000, being a second-hand lens. So, if you can bracket about a lakh, you can get a wonderful wildlife camera.
I use a Canon S50, so I'm quite happy with that, point and shoot, but I'm happy with the pictures that it gives me.
Yeah, so it is not necessary that you always need a DSLR. Sometimes
Right.
A point and shoot also gives you a wonderful picture.
Yes, I'm happy with the one that I have.
It just depends on how far the subject is from you.
Right, yeah.
My cousin also had that Nikon 600 camera. He had went to USA once, so he got it at a way.
What about doing some good photography with a mobile camera?
Yes, sir. You can do some good mobile wildlife photography or bird photography. Again, it depends on the positioning of the subject.
So I got a really good photo like in a Moto G. So sometimes the camera doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. As long as you are happy about your picture, nothing else matters.
Right. That's so true.
So I have not received that picture, Anjali.
I'm just trying.
Mr. Raj, who was sending it? WhatsApp, right?
I have sent it on WhatsApp to Mr. Raja.
No,
I have no idea how to send it across.
Yeah, I have sent it by WhatsApp to Rama since I didn't have your number.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Rama has it.
I haven't as yet received it. As soon as I receive it, I'll let you.
I've just sent it.
Send it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just send it to me, or you share screen or something.
I wouldn't know how to do share screen, so let's.
Okay, yeah, I don't think you can. If you send it to me quickly, or Ranjini can send it, I can try sharing screen.
Sorry,
maybe
Bharat,
we do it later.
you have
Yes?
it with you.
Bharat, I'll send it to you, Bharat.
It will be either in Fanashri or Atashri.
Yeah, I didn't find it in
Yeah.
Atashri.
It's only in Atashri.
And I'm not on Fanashri. It didn't come in Atashri.
Shall I send it?
I don't.
I'll send it to you directly, Bharat.
Please.
Yes, I've done it.
So we have a question. 3 minutes before, Mr.
It's a link.
Prayog
Okay.
elect.
How to go to the village in Rajasthan?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've also sent it to Eskay. Eskay WhatsApp plan.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So now it should have reached you.
That's okay.
Okay,
It's
let me
see this picture and then we'll talk about the Rajasthan.
Yeah.
Let me share it now. That's what I have.
Oh, yeah, black wings too.
And it's not fitting into the screen. It's so I'm moving it up and down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to get it on my phone also. I got it here.
Okay.
This is a lovely picture.
Thank you.
Lovely picture. You got the reflection, the full reflection. The water is very calm, so it's so beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Picture perfect in focus.
I really appreciate it coming from you.
And only one thing I would suggest in this is, ma'am, if you don't mind,
not at all.
I can say something. Actually, you have put the bird in the center of. You also said that because it is not following the rule of thirds.
Yes.
So, not to mention it as rule of thirds. Do you have the original picture you shot, or this is the original picture now?
This is the original picture. I'll have to go to the, because it's slightly post-processed. It is post-processed.
So you will have it in your archives. You will have this picture in your archives.
Of course I will. Yeah.
So if you can browse back and check on this picture again, if you post-process it again, try to put the bird a little on the right side. It is now at the bank center. Try to put it like a 10 to 15 degree to the right.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I guess it would look more better than this because you've got it so clearly. You got it so clearly.
Yeah.
Because the bird is looking to the left. If you can put it a little to the right.
I remember.
Yeah, man. Otherwise, it's awesome.
Yeah, I like the eyes, the reflection of the eyes in the water.
Lovely, man.
So I'm happy.
Thanks for
I'm
sharing.
happy with that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
You got the entire reflection. Even you have the texture of the breast so perfect on the reflection. Than the eye, if you see the texture of the bird's breast on the water is so clear.
Yes. Thank you so
Lovely,
much.
Man.
Thank you for your coming.
Okay. May I request Bharat to propose a vote of thanks?
Thank you, Mr.
Before
Raja.
that, somebody was asking about Bera, the Rajasthan village.
Yeah. Okay, if you can take that on.
Yeah. I hope I'm not taking your any of your time.
No, that's okay.
Question I didn't want to skip that.
Eskay, you have some trainee with you who might be interested in helping us with developing a flora fauna of Atashri. I don't expect you to spend time, but one of your trainees or somebody who can give us.
Sir, I'm myself a trainee sort of only, sir. I'm just an amateur. I'm not an expert. It's not my profession also. I just started off as a passion and then I just took it a little serious than to be a passion. But anyways, to set up flora and fauna, where, sir? Around your place, around Atashri? Can you hear me, sir?
I can't hear you. Couldn't hear you.
Okay.
Can I jump in here and just, Mr. Raja, excuse, if you'll forgive me, I'm just taking the initiative. One more of our residents, Eskay, has sent to me directly one of her pictures. So I'm just going to share it with you. This is Shobha Kamath, who also.
Oh, wow.
Shobha,
this is Gir National Park.
Shobha, can you speak? Yeah.
Yes, it's Gir National, this thing, Sasan Gir Forest.
Yeah, Sasan Gir. Yeah, lovely picture. Very nice, beautiful.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Fortunately, this is almost following the rule of thirds. You have the big one on the line on the right side.
Yes. When you showed me that this thing, no, we were on the jeep, and at that time, when you told that rule of this thing, I thought of that picture and I posted it to Mr. Bharat. It was nice of him to send it.
Very nice, and more luckily, you got two of them with eye contact and almost an eye level shot also.
Yes. In fact, we got a picture of 7 of them.
Oh, lovely.
Yes.
Yeah, just that if you didn't have that small twig which is cluttering at the forefront, it would have been a perfect picture for you. I guess you would be more happy. Yeah.
Yes. So actually, I have a blog.
Okay.
In that, I have a lot of pictures of this.
Okay.
I write a blog. It's this thing. And I have a lot of pictures of this and some other wildlife where we had visited.
Oh, lovely.
I would have loved to share those with and have your opinion about it.
Oh, you still can.
It will be a little too much, but I'll try.
Yes, I know. That's why I don't want to take much of your time.
No. I meant like seeing your reviews, giving you feedback. You should be better at it. So.
Why don't you be in touch with Eskay?
Yeah.
You would like to.
We would like.
Love to.
Yeah.
Please share your contact with us.
We will give you.
You can follow me on my Facebook and on my Insta. I had actually shown it in my slide if you had noted. Otherwise, I can show it to you again.
Okay.
Shall I show it again?
Yeah,
yes, please.
Recording it. Yeah. Okay.
That is my Facebook and Insta.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, we would love to get in touch.
Please don't stop sharing. I'm going to grab that screen so that others will have it.
Yes.
Okay, I got the screen. Okay, all right. I'll give it to whoever else wants it.
So I'll stop sharing.
Okay.
Sir, somebody had asked about Bera. I will say, Bera is not a very familiar name like Ranthambore, Bandhavgarh, or Kabini, but it is a very familiar place for wildlife photographers. So how you go there is you have to go to Jaipur and you take a flight till Jaipur, and then from there you have to drive. There are very few resorts where you can stay and do wildlife safari. Unlike any other wildlife parks, there is no government jeeps. It is only the resort jeeps that will take you, and they are like the government jeeps, very comfortable. And it's a lovely place to be. Trust me, it is a lovely place to be. Even if not for wildlife enthusiasts or photographers, it is a very lovely place to be. Even if you don't get sightings, it's a superb place to be, because almost all the entire place is full of rocks and hillocks. So every resort is at the foot of the hill. And you open your balcony, you see the entire wildlife outside from the balcony. It's a very refreshing place. If anybody is interested, you can just Google Bera, B-E-R-A, Rajasthan.
Thank you.
And there are some websites of the facility service providers are also listed. If you Google, you can pick one of those.
Okay. I guess that's about it. Bharat?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Raja. Yes. Although I think a lot of us feel like, no, we can go on for a long time. Eskay, thank you. It's my very pleasurable job to give the vote of thanks. But, I think you could have already seen from the enthusiasm of all the attendees what a wonderful talk it was. And I think the best talks are ones that are as well interactive. So it was very nice to have two of our own residents display pictures and have you curate them and judge them and give comments. That was a wonderful thing. And your pictures are just amazing and just amazing. But we talked about schooling, and particularly as a teacher, I really appreciated the fact that you framed this discussion as a lesson on wildlife photography. And at least for me, but I'm sure for a lot of other people, maybe not Ranjini or Shobha, who are budding wildlife photographers themselves, but for rest of us, it was a brand new area in which to learn. And I personally learned tremendous amount. And I don't know how much I can show, but I've got notes all over from your conversation. And again, I do. Dawn and dusk are the best times. ISO, shutter speed, aperture. Yeah, I got lots of things. So thank you very much.
I'm hearing my voice here.
No, that was mine. Thank you. And again, I mentioned this before when we had other people dealing with wildlife. It's well known. It's not just climate change. We are at a time in the planet where wildlife is heavily affected. Our biodiversity has come down by 50%, 60%. And so everybody who works in the field of ecology are really now warriors. So and people like you, take pictures. And for the rest of us city-bound folk who have never seen a wild animal, you're telling a story, and it helps keep in the forefront of our mind the necessity of wildlife for our own well-being. That's, you need the top predators everywhere, which means the ecology is healthy. So really appreciate the work you've done and the evangelization you do as you give these talks. It's wonderful. Thank you. And if I may put in a plug for one of our most popular residents, I think Rama has done a wonderful job. She has brought out the best good talent in her student. So thank you, Rama.
Oh, no. Thank you, Rama. Thank you, Rama.
The job of a teacher is to bring out the talent in the student, whatever field that may be. And clearly,
I wanted to specially mention that. I wanted to thank Rama for bringing Eskay, and her students are a wonderful resource for us, for our conversations. We had a great time. We had a great time with you, and we hope to have many more of your students coming.
I've always been very proud to be her student.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
She was one teacher everybody looks up to in school, and she's such an adorable teacher. We used to wait for her class. Every time she speaks something out of academics, it is even more exciting. We call it a very, very memorable day. We have so much of memories of us in school with ma'am.
And when they did well, don't forget the games classes we would all run off to. I would go play with them.
Yes. She was the only one who would do that.
We would go and play volleyball and basketball and all that stuff. Oh, yes.
Thank you.
And all you boys are adorable. Thank you so much for accepting our invite.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for inviting me.
Once we open up, we hope you will come and visit us also.
Yes.
See you in person. And
sure.
That's right.
That would be
That's
lovely.
right.
Thanks for the invite, ma'am.
With many more
And you can
photographs.
tap on anybody's us here.
Till then, let's all...
For the school, you can use Mr. Prabhakar Lavkare is a scientist. I've told you Bharat is a mathematics person. There are any number of people here, an accounts person, anybody you want. You can always contact Raja sir. He's an amazing professor, a man of all trades. I mean, like, really anything that Raja sir can do it. So, yes, you should maybe tap on all of them for your school. Okay? Right. Okay,
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you all. Thank you all
Many thanks.
Wonderful.
for having
Many
me.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
On that
Bye.
note,